Get your homeless ass out of my luxury showroom before I call the police. The words slice through the pristine Manhattan air like broken glass. Ashley Morrison, 28, blonde hair swept in a perfect chignon, doesn't even look up from her iPhone. Her manicured fingers tap against the marble reception desk of Johnson & Associates Real Estate. David Johnson stands motionless, 42 years old, wearing simple khakis and a navy polo shirt. His dark skin contrasts sharply against the white marble and gold fixtures surrounding him. Behind him, floor-to-ceiling windows showcase Central Park's autumn canopy. Other clients, all white, all wealthy, sip champagne while browsing million-dollar listings. A security guard hovers near the entrance, hand resting on his radio. Ashley finally glances up. Her blue eyes scan David with undisguised contempt. Security handles vagrants on Tuesdays. These black stories unfold daily in America's corporate towers. Real-life stories of bias disguised as business. Have you ever been judged by your appearance in a place you actually belonged? David steps closer to the reception desk. His voice remains steady, professional. I'd like to speak with someone about your Park Avenue listings. Ashley's laugh cuts sharp. She turns to her colleague, Maria, a brunette in her 30s, sorting files nearby. Another one who thinks he can afford Park Avenue. Her voice carries deliberately, ensuring other clients hear every word. Maria glances up, smirks, then returns to her work. The complicity is seamless, practiced. Sir, Ashley draws out the word like it tastes bitter. Everything here starts at $2 million. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable at Century 21 down the street. She slides a crumpled brochure across the marble surface. Low-income housing developments in Queens. The paper lands at David's feet. Behind him, Mrs. Patterson, an elderly white woman in Chanel, receives a crystal flute of Dom Perignon. A junior agent personally escorts her to a private viewing room. The contrast isn't subtle, it's designed to humiliate. David bends slowly, retrieves the brochure. His movements are deliberate, controlled. As he straightens, his Hermes wallet becomes briefly visible. Black leather, gold clasp. Ashley misses it entirely, already typing on her phone. Could you spell your name for our security log? Ashley's fingers hover over her keyboard, but her eyes never meet his. David Johnson. David Johnson. She types slowly, deliberately mispronouncing each syllable. And your legitimate business purpose here today? The question hangs in the air like smoke. Other conversations quiet. Mrs. Patterson peers over her champagne glass. David's phone buzzes. The caller ID flashes briefly. Goldman Sachs, private banking. He declines the call without looking. I'm interested in commercial properties, multi-unit developments. Ashley snorts. Commercial. Sir, our commercial division handles properties starting at $50 million. She takes his photo with her phone. No permission asked, no explanation given. Within seconds, the image appears in the company Slack channel. Suspicious individual in showroom, claiming interest in commercial real estate. Security notified. Maria types back immediately. Same guy who was here last week? Ashley responds, different one. They all look the same though, LOL. In the corner, Sarah Chen, a 22-year-old intern, live streams her coffee run to her Instagram followers. Her phone captures everything. Ashley's eye rolls, the crumpled brochure, David's calm responses. Comments begin flooding in real time. At Justice Warrior Chapter 23. This is disgusting. Where is this? At Mike Torres, NYC. I know this place. Johnson & Associates on 57th. At Black Excellence Daily. Document everything, sis. Sarah's viewer count climbs. 127, 245, 387. Ashley calls toward the back office. Tom, we need you out here. Tom Rodriguez emerges from behind frosted glass doors. 45, graying temples, expensive suit that screams middle management. His eyes immediately assess David. Clothes, posture, perceived threat level. What seems to be the issue, Ashley? This gentleman claims he's interested in our commercial listings. Ashley's tone makes gentleman sound like an insult. Tom's expression hardens. He approaches David with measured steps, like a security guard approaching a shoplifter. Sir, I'm going to need to see some proper identification and appointment confirmation. David reaches into his jacket pocket. A first-class boarding pass, JFK to Dubai, dated yesterday, peeks out briefly. Tom notices but doesn't understand its significance. David hands over his driver's license. Clean record, Manhattan address on Central Park West. Tom studies it longer than necessary, comparing the photo to David's face multiple times. This address, Tom squints. You rent or I own? The whole apartment? The building. Ashley's laugh becomes shrill. Right, and I own the Empire State Building. Tom hands back the license with obvious reluctance. Mr. Johnson, this establishment caters to serious investors, people with documented assets, verified income streams. I understand. Do you? Because we've had issues recently with individuals wasting our agents' time that could be spent with legitimate clients. Mrs. Patterson shifts uncomfortably in her viewing room. Even she recognizes the coded language. David's phone buzzes again. This time, the caller ID reads, Board Meeting Reminder, Johnson & Associates Executive Conference Room. The notification is visible for 3 seconds before he dismisses it. Tom catches a glimpse but doesn't process what he's seen. His focus remains on intimidation tactics. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable at one of our satellite offices. They handle smaller transactions. I'd prefer to speak with someone in charge. Tom's chest puffs slightly. I am in charge of client relations, and I'm telling you that without proper financial documentation, bank statements, tax returns, proof of funds, we cannot waste executive time on unqualified prospects. Sarah's live stream now has 623 viewers. Comments scroll rapidly. @Lawyer Lindsay. This is textbook discrimination. Document everything. @Realtor Rick Miami. I'd fire this entire staff. @Civil Rights Advocate. Someone call corporate. This is illegal. The tension thickens. Other clients openly stare. Maria pretends to organize files while recording video on her phone. David remains unnaturally calm, like a man holding royal flush cards in a poker game. Ashley grows bolder. Security cameras are recording everything, sir. If you refuse to leave voluntarily, we'll have documentation for the police report. She doesn't realize how prophetic her words are. David glances at his watch, a simple Timex, deliberately chosen. Before we involve law enforcement, perhaps you could reference your company handbook. Section 4.7, regarding customer treatment protocols. Tom's confidence wavers slightly. How do you know about internal handbook sections? David's smile appears for the first time, brief, enigmatic. I make it my business to know these things. The answer raises more questions than it answers. Ashley and Tom exchange glances. Something feels wrong, but they can't identify what. The frosted glass doors behind Tom swing open again. Janet Wu steps into the showroom, senior agent, perfectly pressed Armani suit, 20 years of sales awards lining her office walls. Her sharp eyes immediately assess the situation. Tom, what's the commotion? Janet's voice carries authority, but her gaze fixed on David reveals instant judgment. Mr. Johnson here claims interest in our commercial division. Tom's emphasis on claims drips skepticism. Janet approaches slowly, her designer heels clicking against marble. She positions herself between David and the executive elevator bank, a subtle but deliberate blocking maneuver. Commercial properties require substantial financial backing, Mr. Johnson. Our portfolio starts at $50 million, with buyers typically representing Fortune 500 companies or international investment groups. David nods calmly. I understand the requirements. Do you? Janet's smile turns predatory. Because frankly, you don't fit our typical client demographic. The statement hangs in the air like poison gas. Mrs. Patterson audibly gasps from her viewing room. Sarah's live stream explodes with comments, viewer count now approaching 800. Ashley grows emboldened by Janet's presence. She picks up the desk phone, speaks loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Security, we have a situation in the main showroom, potential trespassing issue." David doesn't flinch. Instead, he opens a leather portfolio, expensive but understated. Tom and Janet lean forward, expecting to see fake documents or cheap business cards. "I'd like to request a copy of your company handbook, specifically the customer service protocols." Janet laughs, but it sounds forced. "Sir, our handbook contains proprietary information. It's not available to walk-in traffic." "I see." David's voice remains measured. "And who exactly determines what constitutes walk-in traffic versus legitimate clientele?" The question is surgical, precise, legal, dangerous. Janet's confidence wavers momentarily. Tom steps closer, his bulk intended to intimidate. "Listen, friend. I don't know what game you're playing, but this isn't the place for it. You're making our real clients uncomfortable." He gestures toward Mrs. Patterson, who's now openly recording the interaction with her phone. Her expression shows discomfort, but not from David's presence, from the staff's behavior. Ashley begins typing furiously on her computer. "I'm documenting everything for our incident report. Time, date, description of the individual, potential security threats." "Security threats?" David's eyebrow raises slightly. "Have I threatened anyone?" "Your presence alone is disruptive," Janet snaps. "You're clearly not qualified for our services, yet you refuse to leave. That's harassment." The accusation is absurd, but Janet delivers it with conviction. She's played this game before, twisting situations to justify discrimination. Sarah's Instagram live stream now has 1,200 viewers. Comments flood the screen faster than she can read them. As did that Attorney Johnson-esque. "This is actionable discrimination. Get their names." At News Channel 7. "Can we use this footage? DM us." At Real Estate Watchdog. "Johnson and Associates about to get exposed." The company's official Instagram account starts receiving direct messages. Angry viewers flood their latest post, a glossy photo of their award-winning team, with fire emojis and discrimination accusations. At Real Estate Racism begins trending in Manhattan. David pulls out his phone to check something. The screen briefly shows his calendar. Multiple meetings with Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and the Federal Reserve Bank. The appointments scroll by too quickly for the staff to read clearly, but the logos are unmistakable. "Excuse me," David says quietly. "I need to return an important call." He steps toward the window, phone pressed to his ear. His voice drops to a whisper, but certain words carry: "Board resolution. Discrimination protocols. Immediate implementation." Tom and Janet exchange worried glances. Something about David's demeanor, his unshakable calm, his specific knowledge of company policies, his expensive accessories contradicting his simple clothes, doesn't add up. Ashley pulls Tom aside, whispering urgently, "Something's weird about this guy. He knows too much about our internal procedures." "He's probably some activist with a hidden camera," Tom replies. "We need to get him out before this becomes a PR nightmare." Too late. Sarah's live stream has been shared across Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook. Screenshots circulate with captions like, "Real Estate Racism Caught Live," and "This is America, 2025. The building's security guard, Marcus Davis, approaches reluctantly. A black man in his 50s, he's clearly uncomfortable with the situation. His radio crackles. "Front desk to security, we need assistance with an uncooperative individual." Marcus looks between David and the staff, recognition flickering in his eyes. Not recognition of David personally, but recognition of the situation. He's experienced this kind of treatment himself. "Sir," Marcus speaks softly to David, "is there anything I can help you with?" The kindness in Marcus's voice creates stark contrast to the hostility from the sales staff. David smiles genuinely for the second time. I appreciate that, Marcus. I'm just waiting to speak with someone who has actual authority here. The implication hits like a slap. Janet's face reddens. I have 15 years of experience and manage this location's commercial division. I have more authority than anyone you need to speak with. Noted, David replies simply. His phone buzzes with a text message. The preview shows, David, board meeting moved up 30 minutes. Emergency session regarding... The rest is cut off, but Janet catches a glimpse of his name at the top of the message. David? She says slowly. Your last name is Johnson? Yes. And this is Johnson and Associates Real Estate. Correct. Janet's mind races, trying to connect dots that don't make sense to her. Coincidence? Scam? Something else entirely? Ashley interrupts her thoughts. I'm calling the police. This has gone on long enough. She dials 911, speaking loudly for effect. Yes, I need to report a trespassing situation. We have an individual refusing to leave our business premises. David watches with detached interest, like someone observing a fascinating experiment. His calm is unnerving. No anger, no frustration, no fear. Just patience. Mrs. Patterson finally emerges from her viewing room. Excuse me, she addresses Janet directly. I've been a client here for 12 years. I've never seen such appalling behavior from your staff. Janet turns, forced to acknowledge their actual paying customer. Mrs. Patterson, I apologize for any disruption. We're handling a security situation. Security situation? Mrs. Patterson's voice rises. A man politely asking about real estate constitutes a security situation? This is discrimination, plain and simple. The elderly woman's accusation carries weight. She represents old money, established Manhattan society, exactly the demographic Johnson and Associates desperately wants to retain. Tom tries damage control. Mrs. Patterson, you misunderstand the situation. This individual hasn't provided proper financial documentation. Did you ask me for financial documentation when I walked in? She fires back. Did you photograph me for security purposes? The questions hang unanswered because everyone knows the truth. David's phone rings again. This time he answers, Yes, I'll be right up. The executive conference room. Thank you. He ends the call and turns to face the assembled staff. It seems my meeting has been moved up. I need to head upstairs now. Janet blocks his path to the elevator bank. Sir, those elevators require executive access cards. They only go to the corporate offices. David reaches into his jacket pocket. His fingers find a small plastic card, black with gold lettering and his photo clearly visible. He doesn't show it yet. Instead, he smiles. I'm sure we can work something out. David reaches into his portfolio with deliberate slowness. Every movement is measured, controlled. The showroom falls silent except for the distant hum of Manhattan traffic and the soft ping of notifications from Sarah's live stream. He withdraws a single sheet of paper, cream-colored letterhead, embossed logo, official corporate seal. Without a word, he places it gently on Ashley's marble desk. The document lands with the weight of a bomb. Ashley's eyes scan the header. Her face drains of color so rapidly that Tom notices before reading a single word. What is it? Tom demands, snatching the paper. The letterhead reads, Johnson and Associates, Internal Audit Division. Below that, Confidential Employee Performance Evaluation. And at the bottom, in bold black ink, David Johnson, Chief Executive Officer. Tom's hands begin trembling. The paper flutters like a leaf in wind. Janet moves closer, reading over his shoulder. Her expression shifts from confusion to horror to absolute terror in 3 seconds. This can't be real, Ashley whispers. Her voice cracks on the last word. David says nothing. He simply reaches into his jacket and produces his corporate credit card. Black American Express Centurion. The name embossed in gold. David Johnson, CEO, Johnson and Associates. The silence stretches like pulled wire, ready to snap. Mrs. Patterson gasps audibly. "Oh my goodness!" Sarah's live stream explodes. Comments flood the screen so fast they blur into digital waterfalls. At Breaking News NYC, Holy SHT, he's the CEO. At Justice Served Daily, plot twist of the century. At Viral Videos Expert, this is going to break the internet. At Employment Lawyer Kate, these employees are so fired. Viewer count, 2,847 and climbing exponentially. Janet backs away slowly, like someone retreating from a wild animal. "Mr. Johnson, we didn't know. Nobody told us." "Told you what?" David's voice remains perfectly calm. "That you should treat every customer with basic human dignity?" Tom drops the document. It flutters to the floor, landing face up where everyone can see the corporate seal. "Sir, please, there's been a misunderstanding." "Has there?" David's eyebrow arches slightly. "Please, explain the misunderstanding." Tom's mouth opens and closes like a fish gasping for air. No words emerge. Ashley starts crying. Real tears, not the manipulative kind. Her mascara creates black tracks down her cheeks. "I have 3 kids, Mr. Johnson. Please, I didn't know who you were. I swear I didn't know." "And if I weren't the CEO? If I were just David Johnson, a regular customer looking to buy property? Would that justify your behavior?" The question hangs in the air like smoke from a gun barrel. David pulls out his building access card. Black plastic, gold lettering, his photograph clearly visible alongside the words, "Executive Access, All Floors." He holds it up briefly, then slides it into the elevator card reader. The light blinks green immediately. Elevator doors open with a soft chime that sounds like a death knell. Janet finds her voice, desperate now. "Sir, please let me explain. The company culture here, it's not what you think. We were just being cautious about unqualified prospects." "Unqualified?" David steps halfway into the elevator, holding the doors open. "Based on what criteria? My clothing, my race, my polite request to see property listings?" No one answers because everyone knows the truth. Marcus, the security guard, removes his cap and speaks quietly. "Mr. Johnson, sir, I want you to know I wasn't part of this. I've seen this kind of treatment before, and it's wrong." David nods respectfully to Marcus. "Thank you. I noticed your professionalism throughout this interaction." The distinction is clear. Marcus showed decency. Everyone else showed their true character. Sarah's phone starts buzzing incessantly. News outlets are sliding into her DMs, begging for footage rights. Local TV stations want live interviews. Her accidental live stream has become the most viral discrimination video of the year. Other employees begin emerging from back offices, drawn by the commotion. They see the document on the floor, David's access card, the elevator doors standing open. Word spreads in whispers. "That's the CEO. The actual CEO. We're so screwed." Ashley frantically tries to delete her Slack messages, but screenshots have already been taken. The "they all look the same" comment is spreading across social media platforms like wildfire. Maria, who giggled at Ashley's initial discrimination, now stands frozen in terror. She participated in the humiliation. She enabled it. She's complicit. Tom makes one last desperate attempt. "Mr. Johnson, as manager of this location, I take full responsibility. These employees were following my lead. Please don't punish them for my mistakes." David studies Tom for a long moment. "Following your lead? So you instructed them to photograph customers without permission? To refuse service based on appearance? To mock people in company Slack channels?" Each question is a surgical strike. Tom deflates with every word. No, sir. I didn't explicitly instruct. But you created an environment where such behavior was acceptable, where discrimination was the unofficial policy." Tom can't argue because it's absolutely true. David's phone buzzes. He glances at the screen, a text from the company's head of HR. Emergency board meeting convened. Legal department standing by. How bad is this situation? Excuse me, David says to the assembled group. I need to take this call. He steps fully into the elevator but holds the doors open with his foot. His voice carries clearly as he speaks into the phone. Patricia? Yes, it's worse than we discussed. I have documented evidence of systematic discrimination, violation of Fair Housing Act regulations, and potential exposure under Section 1981 of the Civil Rights Act. Yes, I'm coming up now. Have legal review our liability exposure. This could reach 8 figures in damages if other victims come forward. 8 figures. Tens of millions of dollars. The showroom has gone dead silent except for the soft sobbing from Ashley. David continues. Also contact our insurance carrier. Discrimination lawsuits aren't covered under our general liability policy. We may be looking at personal liability for the individuals involved. Yes, immediate termination is likely. I'll be there in 2 minutes. He ends the call and looks back at the group. Tom, Janet, and Ashley stand like condemned prisoners awaiting execution. There's something else you should know, David says quietly. This wasn't my first visit to this location. He reaches into his portfolio again, withdrawing a tablet. The screen shows a grid of video files, each labeled with dates and times spanning the past 6 months. September 15th. Mrs. Rodriguez denied service, told to try ethnic neighborhoods. October 3rd. Mr. Kim asked for proof of citizenship before viewing apartments. November 18th. Ms. Washington charged higher application fees than white applicants. Each revelation hits like a physical blow. This wasn't isolated behavior. It was a pattern. A system. Janet's face goes gray. You've been recording us? The showroom has security cameras, as Ashley mentioned earlier. What you didn't realize is that I've been reviewing footage regularly, documenting incidents, building a comprehensive case. The tablet shows dozens of discrimination incidents. Different employees, different victims, same pattern of bias. Today was my final test. I wanted to experience firsthand what minority customers face in my own company. You exceeded my worst expectations. Mrs. Patterson speaks up from the viewing room. I've witnessed discrimination here before. I should have said something sooner. I'm ashamed I stayed silent. Her admission adds another layer to the case. Witness testimony from established clients. Sarah's live stream has now reached 4,200 viewers. Major news outlets are calling her directly. This story will lead tonight's broadcasts. David steps back into the elevator completely. The board meeting starts in 10 minutes. HR will be down shortly to collect your company property. ID badges, access cards, phones, laptops. Security will escort you from the building. Mr. Johnson, Ashley pleads one final time. Please, I have children. I need this job. I'll do anything. Sensitivity training, community service, whatever it takes. David pauses, his hand on the elevator button. For a moment, something that might be compassion flickers across his face. Ashley, your children deserve a mother who treats all people with dignity. Perhaps losing this job will help you become that person. The elevator doors begin to close. Tom shouts desperately. Sir, what about our severance packages? Our references? The doors stop, leaving just a narrow gap. David's voice comes through clearly. You should have thought about that before you decided my race made me unwelcome in my own company. The doors seal shut with a final, definitive click. The elevator rises toward the executive floors, carrying David to a boardroom where justice will be swift and comprehensive. In the showroom below, 3 careers end in the space of 30 seconds. Mrs. Patterson approaches Marcus, the security guard. You handled yourself with dignity today. I hope Mr. Johnson remembers that. Marcus nods, but his expression is grim. He knows he just witnessed something that will change everything. Not just for these 3 employees, but for the entire company culture. Sarah ends her live stream with a simple message. Sometimes karma comes in person. 4,300 of you just witnessed it live. The video will be shared 50,000 times by midnight. The reckoning has begun. The executive elevator climbs 42 floors in silence. David watches Manhattan shrink through the glass walls, Central Park becoming a green rectangle, people becoming ants, problems becoming manageable from this height. When the doors open, he steps into a world of power. The executive floor spans the entire building width. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcase panoramic views from Hudson River to East River. Original Picassos hang between law degrees and industry awards. The marble here costs more per square foot than most people's annual salaries. Patricia Williams, head of HR, waits by the elevator. 55 years old, silver hair pulled into a severe bun, she carries a tablet thick with documentation. "How extensive is our exposure?" David asks without preamble. "Catastrophic." Patricia's voice is crisp, professional. "Legal estimates range from 60 to 80 million in potential damages. That's assuming only current incidents. If we face class action status..." She doesn't finish the sentence. They both understand the implications. David has changed clothes during the elevator ride. A quick transformation in the private executive washroom adjacent to the elevator bank. Gone are the khakis and polo shirt. Now he wears a charcoal Tom Ford suit, Italian leather shoes, and a Patek Philippe watch that costs more than most cars. The boardroom doors are solid mahogany, imported from Brazilian rainforests. Inside, 12 executives sit around a conference table that could house a small aircraft. Each place setting includes tablets displaying real-time financial data. Annual revenue, $847 million. Number of locations, 127 nationwide. Current stock price, $94.73, down 3% since livestream began. Legal reserve fund, $12 million, insufficient for projected damages. Sarah Chen, CFO, looks up as David enters. No relation to the intern Sarah. This Sarah commands boardrooms, not coffee runs. The footage has been viewed 127,000 times in the past hour. Our PR department is fielding calls from CNN, NBC, and the New York Times. Robert Martinez, legal counsel, opens a thick folder. Federal Fair Housing Act violations carry penalties of $16,000 per incident. We've documented 23 separate incidents over 6 months. That's $368,000 in federal fines alone. State penalties? David asks, taking his seat at the head of the table. New York State human rights law adds another $300,000. But the civil liability is where we face real exposure. Each victim can sue for compensatory damages, punitive damages, and attorney fees. The numbers stack like storm clouds. David listens to each report with surgical focus. Dr. Maya Patel, Diversity and Inclusion Director, provides the human cost. 11 families were denied housing opportunities. 7 qualified buyers walked away from legitimate purchases. We've systematically excluded an entire demographic from home ownership, the fundamental basis of American wealth building. The boardroom falls silent. These aren't just statistics. They're shattered dreams, stolen opportunities, perpetuated inequality. "Bring them up," David says quietly. Patricia speaks into her phone. "Security, please escort the 3 individuals to conference room A." Through the glass walls, David watches Tom, Janet, and Ashley emerge from the elevator. Their confident showroom personas have evaporated. Tom's expensive suit looks rumpled. Janet clutches her purse like a shield. Ashley's mascara has created permanent stains on her cheeks. Security guard Marcus accompanies them, not as suspect, but as witness. His presence provides stark contrast to their guilt. The 3 employees enter the boardroom like condemned prisoners. The executive table, the panoramic views, the obvious wealth and power. Everything emphasizes their complete powerlessness. David stands behind his chair but doesn't sit. The power dynamic is deliberate. Tom Rodriguez, 23 years with this company. 6 discrimination complaints filed against you personally. David reads from Patricia's tablet. Employee reviews consistently mention your old-school approach to client relations. Tom swallows hard. Sir, I can explain. No explanations, just consequences. David's voice carries absolute authority. Janet Wu, 15 years, senior agent with access to our most exclusive listings. You personally denied service to 7 qualified minority families. Janet's legs weaken. She grabs a chair for support. Ashley Morrison, 3 years. Your Slack messages alone constitute hostile work environment violations. They all look the same, your exact words. Ashley collapses into sobbing. The sound echoes off the mahogany walls. David activates the wall-mounted screens. Security footage begins playing. Not just today's incident, but months of documented discrimination. The evidence is overwhelming, undeniable. September 15th, David narrates as video plays. Mrs. Rodriguez, a physician seeking to purchase her first home. You, Tom, told her to try neighborhoods more suited to her background. She earns $300,000 annually. Tom watches himself on screen, seeing his bias displayed in high definition. October 3rd, Mr. Kim, a tech entrepreneur looking for commercial space. Janet, you demanded citizenship papers despite his valid driver's license and American passport. Each video clip is a knife twist of accountability. Robert Martinez opens his legal folder. New York State Executive Law Section 296 prohibits discrimination in real estate transactions. Violations can result in civil penalties up to $50,000 per incident, plus actual damages. The calculator in David's mind works rapidly. $50,000 times 23 incidents equals $1.15 million in state penalties alone. Federal law is even harsher, Robert continues. Section 1981 of the Civil Rights Act allows unlimited punitive damages for intentional discrimination. Recent awards have reached 8 figures for systematic patterns like ours. 8 figures. $10 million or more. David pulls up financial projections on the main screen. Our company employs 2,847 people across 127 locations. Those jobs depend on our reputation, our legal standing, and our ability to operate without federal oversight. The implication is clear. 3 employees' discrimination could destroy nearly 3,000 careers. Tom, Janet, Ashley, you have a choice. Option 1, immediate termination with cause. No severance, no references, and I release all footage publicly. Civil suits will follow, along with criminal charges for civil rights violations. The room goes silent except for Ashley's continued sobbing. Option 2, immediate resignation with limited severance, signed non-disclosure agreements, mandatory sensitivity training at your own expense, and complete cooperation with our internal investigation. Tom finds his voice. What about our employment history? Our references? David's expression doesn't change. Your employment history will reflect termination for cause related to discriminatory practices. Future employers can interpret that however they choose. The professional death sentence is complete. No major real estate company will hire them. Janet makes one final plea. Mr. Johnson, I have 15 years invested in this company. My retirement, my benefits. You should have considered that before deciding my race made me unwelcome in my own building. The words land like hammers on anvils. Dr. Patel speaks up. The company will implement comprehensive reform. Every employee undergoes unconscious bias training within 60 days. We're installing AI-powered monitoring systems to detect discriminatory language in real time. Patricia adds, new hiring requirements mandate 40% minority representation at all locations within 12 months. Customer service metrics will weight inclusion scores at 50% of performance evaluations. The systemic changes represent millions in investment, but the alternative, federal oversight and class action lawsuits, would cost far more. David addresses Marcus directly. Marcus, Your professionalism today was exemplary. HR will contact you about advancement opportunities within our security division. Marcus nods gratefully. Thank you, sir. I've seen too many good people treated badly. Today felt different. The distinction is crucial. Dignity and respect are rewarded, discrimination is punished. Robert Martinez produces termination documents. Standard severance packages are forfeited due to cause terminations. However, Mr. Johnson is offering minimal compensation in exchange for NDA compliance. Ashley looks up through her tears. How much? 2 weeks' pay. Take it or face civil litigation that will bankrupt your family. The choice isn't really a choice. Tom signs first, his hand shaking as he writes his name. Janet follows, her 15-year career ending with a signature. Ashley can barely hold the pen steady. Patricia collects their ID badges, access cards, and company phones. Security will escort them to retrieve personal belongings under supervision. As they prepare to leave, David speaks one final time. You'll find that discrimination is expensive, not just for companies, for individuals. Future employers will Google your names. This story will follow you. The three file out, their careers and reputations destroyed in under 2 hours. Sarah Chen pulls up the company's stock price, down 7% and falling. Markets hate discrimination scandals. We need immediate public response. David nods. Schedule a press conference. Full transparency about today's events, our reform initiatives, and our commitment to inclusive practices. The crisis management begins immediately, but the real work, changing company culture, will take years. Through the windows, Manhattan stretches endlessly. Somewhere in those buildings, other companies face similar reckonings. Today's live stream will inspire investigations, audits, and uncomfortable conversations. Change has begun. 3 hours later, the Johnson & Associates website undergoes dramatic transformation. Ashley Morrison's Employee of the Month photo disappears, replaced by a new message. Committed to equal housing opportunity for all. Tom Rodriguez's Manager of the Year plaque vanishes from the showroom wall. In its place, a digital display shows real-time diversity metrics. Today's customer service, 47 families assisted, 100% satisfaction rating, 0 discrimination complaints. Janet Wu's corner office stands empty, her nameplate already removed. Maintenance staff wheel out boxes of personal belongings while prospective agents wait in the lobby, drawn by emergency job postings for positions emphasizing inclusive customer service experience. David stands before the bathroom mirror in his private executive washroom, straightening his tie before the press conference. Outside, news vans line 57th Street, CNN, NBC, Fox Business. Every major outlet wants this story. Patricia enters with final updates. Social media response is unprecedented. Sarah's original live stream has 2.8 million views. Hashtag our real estate reform is trending nationally. The numbers tell a story of viral accountability. This single incident has sparked nationwide conversations about discrimination in real estate, banking, and retail industries. Dr. Maya Patel provides implementation details. We've partnered with the NBOACP Legal Defense Fund to create comprehensive bias training. Every employee completes 40 hours within 60 days or faces immediate termination. The training isn't voluntary, it's survival. Technology integration is already underway, adds Chief Technology Officer James Liu. AI monitoring systems analyze all customer interactions for discriminatory language patterns. Alerts trigger immediate supervisor review. The system will catch what human oversight missed: coded language, subtle biases, institutional discrimination disguised as business practices. Robert Martinez reviews legal settlements. 11 families affected by documented discrimination. We're offering full compensation for lost housing opportunities, plus relocation assistance and preferred lending rates for future purchases. Money can't undo humiliation, but it can provide path forward. David reviews the financial commitment. $5 million for bias training programs across all locations. $2 million for technology infrastructure. $1 million victim compensation fund, $500,000 for external diversity audits. Total investment, $8.5 million. The cost of doing what should have been done from the beginning. Sarah Chen provides market analysis. Initial stock drop recovered to only 2% below opening. Investors view our proactive response positively. Long-term projections show diversity initiatives actually increase profitability. Companies with inclusive practices outperform homogeneous ones by 35% in profitability, 70% in innovation. Discrimination isn't just morally wrong, it's economically stupid. The press conference begins at 3 p.m. sharp. David approaches the podium in the building's marble lobby. Cameras flash like lightning storms. Reporters lean forward, smartphones recording every word. Today, Johnson & Associates failed to meet our own stated values of equal treatment and dignity for all customers. I take full responsibility for creating an environment where discrimination could flourish unchecked. No deflection, no excuses, full accountability. Effective immediately, we are implementing the most comprehensive diversity and inclusion program in the real estate industry. Not because it's legally required, but because it's fundamentally right. He outlines specific changes: anonymous reporting systems, quarterly diversity audits, community advisory boards with civil rights leaders, partnership with HUD to monitor fair housing compliance. We're also establishing a $10 million fund for first-time minority home buyers, down payment assistance, reduced interest rates, and dedicated counseling services. The announcement exceeds expectations. This isn't damage control, it's transformation. Reporter questions fly. Mr. Johnson, why did you choose undercover investigation instead of traditional auditing? Because discrimination happens in moments when people think nobody important is watching. I needed to experience what our minority customers face daily. Will other executives in your company undergo similar testing? All senior management will participate in mystery shopping programs. We're also hiring external firms to conduct random bias assessments. The transparency is unprecedented in corporate crisis management. Marcus Davis, the security guard, watches from the lobby's edge. Tomorrow, he begins training for promotion to Security Division Supervisor. His dignity during the crisis earned recognition and advancement. Mrs. Patterson stands nearby, having volunteered as character witness. Her testimony about witnessed discrimination provides crucial credibility. Change begins with individual choices, David continues. Today, 3 employees chose discrimination. Going forward, every Johnson & Associates employee chooses inclusion or finds employment elsewhere. The message resonates beyond real estate. Companies across industries announce similar investigations, worried about their own hidden biases. By 6 p.m., 12 other major real estate firms have contacted Johnson & Associates requesting copies of their new bias training protocols. By 8 p.m., 3 universities have invited David to speak about corporate responsibility and systemic change. By 10 p.m., the original viral video has been shared over 100,000 times, but now it's accompanied by follow-up videos showing the company's response. Accountability leads to action. Action creates change. Sarah Chen, the intern whose live stream started everything, receives scholarship offers from 7 journalism schools. Her accidental documentation of discrimination becomes her ticket to a career in investigative reporting. The story spreads globally. London, Tokyo, Sao Paulo, international markets notice American companies taking discrimination seriously. Real change requires more than press conferences. It demands sustained commitment, constant vigilance, and cultural transformation that reaches every employee, every interaction, every decision. David knows the hardest work lies ahead. But today, 3 careers ended in disgrace, while thousands of others learned that discrimination has consequences. Justice served as education for all. 6 months later, David stands in the same marble showroom where it all began. The space looks identical. Same gold fixtures, same Central Park views, same expensive artwork. But everything has changed. Behind the reception desk sits Keisha Williams, a young black woman with an MBA from Wharton. She greets every customer with genuine warmth, regardless of their appearance or accent. The Employee of the Month plaque now rotates among staff who demonstrate exceptional inclusive service. Where Tom Rodriguez once stood, Marcus Davis conducts security rounds in his new role as Safety and Inclusion Coordinator. His promotion from guard to supervisor sent a clear message. Dignity and professionalism are rewarded. The digital displays David installed show real-time metrics. 365 days without discrimination complaints, 89% customer satisfaction, 43% minority staff representation. Sarah Chen, the intern-turned-journalism student, returns for a follow-up interview. Her original live stream spawned a documentary series called Hidden Bias that examines discrimination across industries. "Mr. Johnson," she asks, "what did you learn from going undercover in your own company?" David considers the question carefully. "I learned that power means nothing if you don't use it to protect the powerless. True leadership isn't about commanding respect, it's about ensuring everyone receives respect." The company's transformation metrics tell the story. 0 discrimination lawsuits filed since the incident. Employee diversity increased 300% across all locations. Customer satisfaction scores rose from 2.1 to 4.8 stars industry-wide. Annual revenue increased 12% due to expanded customer base. Good business and moral business are the same business. Mrs. Patterson, now 78, brings her granddaughter apartment hunting. She specifically requested the 57th Street location. "I want her to see how change happens when good people take action." The viral video's impact extends far beyond real estate. Touching stories like David's prove that real-life stories of discrimination can spark systemic change. These black stories matter because they show quiet dignity defeating loud prejudice. Other companies implemented similar undercover programs. Universities study the case in business ethics courses. The Johnson method, using authentic investigation to identify bias, becomes standard practice across industries. Ashley Morrison found work at a nonprofit housing organization, helping low-income families find affordable homes. Her termination became transformation. She now advocates for the communities she once excluded. Tom Rodriguez moved to Wyoming, working for a small agency specializing in ranch properties. His career never recovered, but he reportedly treats all customers equally now. Consequences teach what words cannot. Janet Wu left real estate entirely, becoming a diversity consultant for corporations seeking to avoid their own viral discrimination moments. Her expertise comes from lived experience with failure. David reflects in his executive office as Manhattan lights twinkle below. True power isn't about revenge. It's about creating lasting change that protects the next person who walks through that door. Life stories like this remind us that touching stories of discrimination still happen daily. But when people have power to create change, they have responsibility to use it. Black stories like David's prove that strategic thinking and quiet strength can defeat even entrenched bias. Have you witnessed discrimination in your workplace? Share your story in the comments below. If this video opened your eyes to hidden bias, subscribe and share it with someone who needs to see that change is possible. Together, we can create spaces where everyone is judged by character and qualifications, not appearance. Comment your experiences. Share this story. Subscribe for more real-life stories of justice served through intelligence, not anger. Because the most powerful revolution happens one respectful interaction at a time.